just want to jump and ask you some questions. So the first question I wanted to ask you is, could you provide us with a background, I guess, of who you are and how music and singing started for you?
Sure. Well, let's say singing started for me at the age of 4. My sister Joy recognized that there was a skill that I had, a singing skill. Myself, my older sister, and my brother above her. So she got us together and formed this family group called the Delightfuls. I must say we were quite a delight. So that was where it all began, in London, in Harlesden. Well, we lived right on the border of Harlesden and Willesden, so I would often tell my friends I'm from Willesden, really, because it's like, the nicest side of the
Yeah.
town. There I tell people to be from Harlesden, they're like, what? So it started there, and funnily enough, on that street, Oakfield Road, we had The Simpsons. You had Faye Simpson, you had Ronnie Jordan, known as his name was Ronnie Simpson, but known as Ronnie Jordan, guitarist. Yeah. And then you had John Thompson, the bass player, who lived across the road from us.
Wow.
You had Derek Robinson, who lived opposite The Simpsons. So our street was filled with musicians who are playing for mainstream artists, So, but we didn't really value that as much. Well, we did value it, but we didn't know how important that was. We just thought, oh, that's really cool, you're doing that, fine, So when we see each other now, it's just like, it's an amazing time to see each other, knowing where we were coming from. We all went to the same church. Well, the Robinsons, they went to Tubbs Roads Church, property organisation, and but John wasn't really a churchgoer, but he started coming to our church in Wembley. And the Simpsons were at our church for a while. We sang together as well. So that whole history that my sister was a part of brought us into that whole circle. But it was quite fascinating for me as a kid, to be seeing all of this. So I soaked it up. I didn't really know what the outcome was going to be. I wasn't really looking for anything in terms of singing wise. I think as a kid, I was just really interested in meeting people and new experiences, being introduced in new environments. And so everywhere I went, my sister, she would take us into the city, into London City, just to look around, or if she wanted to go shopping for herself, would go along with it. So always introducing us to new things, Our first family meal outside of the house was the Garfunkels.
Okay.
So, all of those experiences was a part of my music, even now, because those memories and that vast experience it evolves and it erupts and it triggers things in you. Even when you're singing songs, you just have a quick reminder of something from the past, and you just get this feeling of, my gosh, wow, and then you just kind of like go in. So singing from church, going into our district choir in London, which is now the Kingdom Choir. So from our district choir was like massive, but I wasn't allowed to join that until I was like 13 years old. So when I got the opportunity to join the choir, that was it. So you had Karen Gibson, Noel Robinson, and Patsy Cunningham, who were the choir directors at the time, and Kim Samuels as well. So that was like another phase of the journey. And then out of that came Noel Robinson, who wanted me to be part of his worship team called New Image. And then whilst being a part of that, I went to university. So whilst studying music, my principal study was in vocals. And I did a few months of psychology and some classical tuition as well. Mm-hmm. So working with Noel and working with Karen at the time that I was at university, really began to shape my musicianship as a person, but the university shaped my sound because it's my classical tutor who heard me singing in the canteen, just messing around, and she's like, "Come into my office. I've got something for you." And I'm not a massive music reader. I can read music, but I'm not proficient music reader. I wasn't trained that way, and my mind is wired that way to read music. So I don't beat myself up about not being able to read music. I think my skills is listening, and I can listen to something and pick it up real quick, you know. And but some of the students that I was studying with weren't able to do that. They had to have the score. So I took pride in not being able to read music, and it's a wonderful skill to have, don't get me wrong, but sometimes we're dumbed down and we think it's less classy not to read music. But I thought, well, that wasn't my training ground, and you know, I am proud of my training ground, which was the church walls. You know, everyone sang in harmony. They had hymns that had notes in there. No one ever sang the notes. They just sang what was in their head. And so that's how I learned. And so I love that that way of being brought up. It just shaped the way we think about music, and the way we sing music, and the way we respond to music, and the way that people respond to us when we're entertaining them with singing. And so my Yep. So shaping my sound. I've done a bit of classical singing, a lot of jazz singing, and so that really changed my sound a great deal, to the point that I went to back to Noel's rehearsal, and I thought, let me just test this new sound out, you know, on the worship circle, on the worship scene, and just see. And so as soon as I started singing, they were like, "Seriously, the university is doing you so well, man. It's doing you good." And, yeah. So that's just like I've asked, you know, a history of different experiences growing up in different circles, different environments, which has shaped my sound, shaped my character, my personality to what it is today.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I also understand that you have been on The Voice UK. Could you talk to us a little bit about that? And also, what were some of the challenges you faced as part of that process?
Okay. So my idea to do The Voice, you know, came from my agent, Yvonne White. And she was like, "You need to do The Voice." And I'm like, it's just not me. And anyone that knows me knows that I will push up myself in front of cameras to be seen, to be heard. That's just not me at all. I'd rather be in the background. I'm very much a hermit, you know, and I'd rather be in the background, do my thing, and get on with life, you know. However, at the time I was doing a tribute show to Nat King Cole, which was called Wayne Ellington Sings Nat King Cole. And I was funding it myself, and it was really challenging, very difficult. But I thought, it's too big to miss. So I thought, let's do it. So for 2 years, I was doing this show. And then come 2017, I was approached by The Voice. They asked me to come on. I thought, Yvonne called me. She said, "Look, The Voice has been in contact with me. They want you to come on the show," and yada, yada, yada. I was like, And she's like, "What's the problem? Is it the church?" And so on. But, you know, it just wasn't me. And I think when I analysed deeper, it was a fear of competitions. It wasn't a fear of losing. That wasn't it. It was just a fear of being judged. And I thought, I can do without being judged, because I know who I am. I know what I'm about. I don't need to go and validate myself anywhere else, you know? So long story short, I eventually decided to do it on the basis that I'll take the label competition off and see this as a new experience. you know. See it as a new experience, see it as a way to challenge myself with how I actually action taking the label off and stepping in front of the cameras for the world to see me, you know. But then I didn't tell many people about it at all. I thought, well, you know, if I'm going to do this, I'll do this for me. I had this code word with my community choir in Manchester, and it was sausages. Because, like, you know, I said to them, look, I'm going to tell you something, but I'm not going to tell you now, but I'm going to tell you in future what it is that I'm doing. But I'll just mention sausages. Because each week you would have new people coming into our choir rehearsals, and I just didn't want them to be, the choir director's going to be on The Voice. And so I just wanted to keep everything on a down low. Not because, not to be secretive or anything. I'm quite a private person, very private person, and I don't put my business out there all the time. Do you know what I mean? If it's music stuff, if it's going to benefit somebody else, then I put it out there, you know? So I decided to do it on the basis that I was going to challenge myself by taking the competition label off and just seeing how I responded to the whole process. And if I felt nervous, if I felt anxious in any way, whatever negative feeling that I might have felt, I wanted to see how I responded to it. That was me playing psychology with myself. So, and also it was for self-growth as well. I wasn't fussed about winning. I wasn't fussed about getting to the next level. I was fussed about just making it to the microphone on the blind audition. And if I got that far, sang my song, and if no one turned, that was my mission completed. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't have had to enter a competition as such. However, we had Jennifer Hudson and Tom Jones who gave it a turn. For me, that was a bonus. And everything else that happened after that was a complete bonus. I just thought, well, now we're here now, Wayne, just enjoy the ride. And that's all I did. The competition label was replaced with enjoyment. So anything they changed, anything that they were like, you know, we need this from you, we need that from you. I thought to myself, well, I'm in charge of me. You want to know about my past? I'll tell you about my musical past. You want to know about my family past? That's personal. You want to know about, you know, anything from me that's personal? I'm here to sing. Do you know what I mean? So that was my response. All the time. But it's TV, and they do things like that because they want to evoke emotions. But I can evoke emotions without giving a backstory about myself through my singing, and that's what I wanted to portray. So whilst I know how TV works, I know how radio works, I know how the world works, I had to hold my own. And with the support of my family are just the best, and my close friends, you know. And so if I was anxious about anything, I'll just have a quick chat with them, you know. I didn't need to go and speak to any of the TV producers or any of the TV staff, but it was good. The only thing that I was really gutted about when I got to my final journey on the Voice was during the knockouts. But when you do the blind audition, you wear something of your own, and then you get to the battles, and then that's when they begin to dress you.
Okay. And
then you can either keep, you know, the clothes that they give you, or you can just give them back. And some things you can't keep because they've hired it in.
Of course.
But my gear, I bought, and I thought, I like that suit, I like that shoes, I like that shirt. Yep, is a keeper. Then after that, that got me through to the knockout rounds. So the knockout round came, and there was two suits. There was a jade suit and a blue check suit. So I chose the jade suit, and I thought I'll do the jade suit and I leave the blue suit till the next round. This is me being over anxious. Over ambitious. So I got the jade suit, and then that round was a knockout round. When that round had finished, and I didn't get through to the next round, I thought to myself, and right on there on that stage, when Tom Jones says, well, he called out Ruti as the winner, for that round, I thought to myself, there goes the blue suit.
Suit gone.
There goes the blue suede shoes.
Oh man.
And also the treatment that you get from the voice, in all honesty, in my experience, it was really good. You know,
Excellent.
it was really good. And I guess because I made it good for myself, but they made it okay for me. So the challenges were, though it were great, I was able to manage the challenge because I chose to manage the challenge, you know, and not be upset about the challenges, and not be too critical about changes that were made, you know, on the off chance of stuff that, you know, so many things going on. And I thought, well, sit still and hold tight and hold everything lightly. You know? And that's how I got through it. Brilliant experience. Would I encourage anyone to do it? Yeah, I would. But on the basis that you're going to go in it for, you know, to do something new for yourself. You know, forget it being a competition. You know, but go in and do something new. It's good exposure. It didn't bring any more people to my shows, you know, which was fine because, you know, I didn't go in it for that. But the exposure was good. People see you on the street and they're like, "Oh, you're from The Voice," and you get tired of that. I saw you,
celebrity.
But it was a great experience.
Great. Amazing. Thank you. And obviously, I know you mentioned the Kingdom Choir under the leadership of Karen Gibson. Obviously, you guys performed at the royal wedding, Harry and Meghan's wedding. Talk to us a little bit about that. How was that experience for you, being a part of the choir and having that amazing opportunity?
Yeah, that was a superb opportunity to sing with the Kingdom Choir. But, you know, with the Kingdom Choir, like I said before, I've been in that choir since the age of 13. You know, wow. It wasn't known as the Kingdom Choir then. It was years later when Karen were asked to put a choir together. Well, not put a choir together, but they've heard of the Songs of Praise, I think it was, that, you know, had heard about the choir and wanted the choir to do a performance for the program. And Karen had to come up with a name. By that time, a lot of people had already left the choir because of families moving out of the area. And the choir dwindled quite a bit, you know. There was about maybe 300 people in the choir at the time or so.
Wow.
But it had shrunk down to about maybe 40 people or so. But strong, dedicated, superb singers that made just as well a greater sound as with the 400 or 300 folks. Anyway, so Kingdom Choir was formed much early on. So when I moved to Manchester, I've been up here 19 years. Well, September will be 19 years I've been in Manchester now. So I was missing from London for quite some time. So in 2018, when Karen called me and asked me if I was free on the 19th of May, I was like, well, yeah, what was going on? She's like, I can't tell you. I was like, right. I'm like, well, I do know that there's a wedding going on the 19th of May. And she went quiet. So I'm like, and she's like, look it up. I was like, well, you know, so she was secrecy. She couldn't say anything. But I trust her. You know, I know that she wouldn't call any of us to do anything if it's going to be, you know, embarrassing for us, because I mean, it's all representing her, you know, and we're all independent artists ourselves, you know, everyone that's in the choir, we all got, you know, a lot of us have got our own thing going on as well, but it's the commitment to the choir that we've had over years. It's just filled with history. So being called to be part of that event was amazing, but it didn't hit me until I actually sat down with the program in my hand. You know, program would probably pay off my mortgage now, like, you know.
Look after it.
Right now, from the way when I still got it, you know. I mean, it's going on for so long. I'm joking, but it was a wonderful experience and really good to actually be a part of, you know. So yeah, it was really good. a really, really good experience. Being there, sat with a lot of other artists, a lot of other celebrities who were just, it was incredible. You're walking past and you're actually seeing them as human beings, not as celebrities, you know. And there was like a mutual sense of joy, a mutual sense of love, and the room was just filled with this intensity of joy and love, basically.
Amazing.
By the time I sat down, it was quite amazing, quite an amazing thing to be a part of. So the whole experience was great, and what it's done for the choir is put the choir on a platform where we are able to minister to people in what they need to be ministered to. You know, we're not throwing faith and the Bible and religion down people's throats to the point that they can't swallow it. You know, it's a way where sometimes it's indescribable, because we just do what we do. We sing God, we encourage people, and lift people's spirits and everything. And it's real. The testimonials from people are just incredible. There's healing, there's deliverance, there's all sorts of things that are going on with people.
Wow.
The ones who are non-believers as well as the ones who are believers as well. So the whole thing is really incredible. We don't take anything lightly, and Karen makes sure, you know, that everyone is on point with faith. You know, wherever faith they're in terms of, you know, Christian faith wise, and whatever church they're at, she just doesn't mess around with that thing at all. So everyone knows the standards, everyone knows the morals, everyone knows the values, and we hold it dear to our hearts because it is valuable. And that's what we carry around with us, and you can see it in us when we're together. So it's actually put, doing the wedding actually put the choir on a pedestal to which is managed well. There's no one's like, you know, off our heads or anything like that. No one's like really, no one's like, it's not gone to anyone's head. Yeah, but it's all good.
Excellent.
Great experience that was.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And speaking of choirs, I understand that you have a choir, and your choir, I think, won BBC Songs of Praise Choir of the Year. I'm not going to quote the year, I don't know if I've got that right, but and that's amazing. And that's Manchester Inspirational Voices. Tell us about that choir, how it started, and what you guys are currently doing.
Okay, so Manchester Inspirational Voices, I founded that in 2006, where we were formerly known as Manchester Sing Out Choir. And I formed the choir when I came to Manchester. I came to Manchester in 2002, and I wanted something to be a part of, because I missed being with choirs. I missed being with the Kingdom Choir. I missed being with New Image, you know, with Noel Robinson. I missed being with London Community Gospel Choir. I missed being with another group called The Shouts. It was a non-faith group. It was more of a classical stroke jazz group of singers. And there were 17 of us or so. And I was the only gospel singer as a genre in that group. So I missed being around singers. I came to Manchester and I thought, well, where are the singers at? So the only singer that I knew of was Audrey Mattis, who ran a choir up here called Vicinity at the time. There weren't any singers that I knew of that were doing much on the circuit. Not that I was looking for them or searching for them, but surely you would have heard of them if they were that prominent in the area. And Manchester really, you know, it's a big city, but it's not that big, you know. But it's a brilliant, thriving city. So I thought, well, I looked at what I had in my hand. I thought, well, I've got skills. I've got, you know, a lot of things in my hands to do, and I've got a lot of music history going on. So I remember going to my church and asking the pastor if I could use the church hall for, just to start up a community choir. And I was told, well, it's not going to be suitable, because there's going to be a lot of things going on throughout the week. And I thought, well, okay, in my head, that was no. So I went to another place called the Zion Arts Centre, which was an old Methodist church turned into a community centre, or community arts centre. And the project manager there at the time was a lady called Sharon Raymond. And Sharon Raymond explained to me that they were under a bit of issues because they were either going to be closing down or whichever. But, I thought, well, if I can get at least 20 people in each week, if you can get 20 people in each week, you can have the space for free.
Wow.
Oh, cool. So I managed to get 12 people consistently for at least 6 months or so. But I used to put out 20 chairs.
Amazing.
And I got the idea from Errol Williams. And Errol Williams used to, before he became pastor of the church down in London where I used to attend, he used to put out loads of chairs. And then he used to explain why he's putting out a lot of chairs. And it just didn't really click with us. So when I actually saw the growth of the church, I thought, cool. So I took that to Manchester. But mind you, I must have been about 18, 19 or so at the time, or maybe 20, that long ago. That's what I'm saying about past experience. They travel with you. So I took that with me to Manchester. And I was putting out 20 chairs. And then after our first concert, that's when we began to receive more people coming in, because they liked what we did at the last concert. And it happens all the time. There is a high turnover of new members. You'll have a batch that will leave and a new batch that will come in. But after we did the Songs of Praise Gospel Choir of the Year, well, leading up to that, I said to the choir, I ain't messing around. I kind of switched. I ain't bipolar, promise.
Amazing.
But that's when things began to change. My vision just rocketed. Everything that I thought was probably too scary to do, or I was feeling too shy to do, because maybe the choir members might not want to do it, I thought, here's what we're going to do. So I put them forward for the Songs of Praise Gospel Choir of the Year. And I felt doing that because that year was my year of yes. I remember before I was saying I ain't a competition person, and I ain't taking nobody. If I'm not going to do a competition, no one else ain't doing a competition, But that was my year of yes, 2016. And it was my choir assistant, Denise, who said to me, well, you said this is your year of yes, and the choir feels that they're ready for this. So I thought, right, cool. So we were asked to give in some songs. So I thought, well, just audition songs. I thought it's just audition songs, not necessarily the songs that I wanted to do. So we sent in Swing Low, and we sent in So Fananaye, just thinking that's, just so you can hear us, that's what we sound like, with music and without music. And then I was speaking to Ken Burton, who was part of the panel as well. And when I spoke to Ken, and I was like, well, when do we send in the real songs? And he's like, no, you sent in your songs already. And I'm like, well, So then I was left with those two songs. So I said to the choir, that's when I said to the choir, we need to fix this up. And I had to think quick and do some really, some creative arrangements, vocal arrangements, and so on, which I felt was good. And we had Nikki Brown helping us as well with the music. Ken Burton came up to, support the choir as well. I think that was his job, to go into the different choirs and just see what they were doing and just help them out a bit more. So the support you got from them was great. So after doing the Songs of Praise Gospel Choir of the Year rehearsals times, it bonded us together even more. it made us stronger, and it blew my head off. I thought, right, after doing this, we ain't going back. So we planned the trip to New York. So that same year, we went to New York, about 30 of us. Mind you, at the time, there was about 65 people in the choir at that time, 2016. And I had to choose 40 people to do the Song for Praise Gospel Choir of the Year show, which wasn't a problem for me. Some folks had an issue with it, but I can't I couldn't focus on what people weren't happy with, you know.
And Wayne, sorry to cut you, that was just based on vocal ability? Is it just purely that decision?
No.
Okay.
It wasn't just based on vocal ability. It was based on vocal ability. It was part of it. It was also based on character, look, charisma, a lot of factors.
The winner of the BBC Songs of Praise Gospel Choir of the Year is Manchester Inspirational Voices.
You are definitely, for me, certified WMDs, weapons of mass deliverance.
What was great about it is that I didn't expect that at all.